Good morning, students. Today we will be dealing with the last topic from this chapter 3, that is force. You will be referring to page number 47 and 48 for today's topic. Okay, today we will be discussing about non-contact force. Like I told you in your last class, force can be divided into two types, right? Contact force we have already discussed in detail. So today we will be discussing with non-contact force. Okay, the name itself suggests you that two objects where the force are being exerted are not in a direct contact with each other. Okay, in case of contact force, two objects were in direct contact with each other, but in case of non-contact force, two objects where the force is being exerted, they are not in direct contact with each other. So force exerted when an object is not in a direct contact with each other is known as non-contact force. It can be divided into three types. Further subtypes are your magnetic force, electrostatic force and gravitational force. First, let us discuss about magnetic force. You all have seen magnet, right? What do you do when you get a magnet? You start attracting iron nails. No, you play like that. You take a magnet, and if you have iron nails around, you start going near that iron nails, and what happens? As soon as you place your magnet in the close proximity to that iron nails, what happens? Your iron nail starts getting attracted towards the magnet. It sticks on the magnet. Okay, how does that happen? That happens because your magnet is exerting a certain force on those iron nails. So that force exerted by the magnet is known as magnetic force. Because of the magnetic force, objects made up of iron, nickel and cobalt can be attracted towards it. Okay, so magnetic force means the force exerted by the magnet is known as magnetic force. What kind of objects can be attracted because of the magnetic force? Objects which are made up of iron, nickel or cobalt can be attracted with the help of a magnetic force. Okay, next is your electrostatic force. Okay, sometimes what do you do in your free time? You just take a scale, right? You rub it on your hair, and if you have a small, you break the paper, tear the paper into small pieces, you keep it on the table, and if you place that scale or a comb with which you have rubbed your hair near that piece of paper, what can you see? You can see that your pieces of paper are being attracted towards that scale or a comb. How does that happen? That happens because when you are rubbing your scale or a comb onto your dry hair, electric charge is produced. Okay, now because of that electric charge only, your pieces of paper are being attracted towards it. Okay, now that force is known as electrostatic force. Okay, when you are rubbing certain object, the electric charge is being produced. Because of that electric charge, you are being able to attract certain object. Okay, so that is known as your electrostatic force. Now next is your gravitational force. Okay, if I take this phone cover and if I throw it, what will happen? It will just drop on the floor. How is that happening? That's happening because your earth is exerting a force towards this object, because of which this object is being pulled towards the earth. Okay, downward force is being applied. Now that force exerted by the earth on the object, because of which object is pulled downwards, is known as gravitational force. Your gravitational force varies from place to place. Your gravitational force on the earth will not be as same as that in the moon. Okay, it varies from place to place. So downward force exerted by the earth on the object is known as gravitational force. That's why when you lift a bucket, it becomes difficult. For bucket full of water, you find it very difficulty in lifting it. Why does that happen? Because when you are exerting a force upward, earth is trying to pull that bucket downwards. Okay, earth is exerting a force on that particular bucket, because of which it becomes difficult for you to lift a bucket which is full of water. Okay, so that's all about non-contact force. So we have discussed today about 3 types of non-contact force. Those are your magnetic force, electrostatic force and gravitational force. So that's all about chapter 3. Okay, from this chapter you have to know the definition of force, what are the 2 types of force. Okay, contact force, non-contact force. Among contact force you have to give more preference to the frictional force, and non-contact force you just have to have an idea about all these types and you should be able to cite an example. Okay, so that's all about this chapter 3. We will be discussing the question answer related to this exercise. Okay, thank you.